Hi, so this might seem a little apt considering it looks like we're heading into a global recession. Happy days, that is absolute sarcasm. So, with all of these tariffs levied against America, you kind of think everything is, well, you don't think, it's the truth. The tariff is a tax on American people. So, we are going to be very heavily taxed, which means everything is going to be more expensive. The rough estimate is that living expenses will increase by $5,000 a year. So that means I'd have to earn $10,000. And that means every employer would have to pay every employee an extra $10,000 just to keep to the standard of living, we're at the moment. And if you wanted to buy a new car or an SUV, that's somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 extra on top of it. So if I am an American, in my, say, late 30s, because this is actually quite a hard age to be making these type of decisions. So in your late 30s, you kind of might begin to start being in a relationship, think about settle down, maybe having kids. Your parents are getting older. So the question is, if I'm an American in my late 30s, should I move to another country? And the reason I'm asking this is because when they do the happiness index, and I'm going to look at that in another week, Finland come out on top for the last 5 years in a row. Every single Finnish person every year says they're the happiest people in the world. And it's extraordinary because it's the one country that, no other country emulates, even though everyone's really happy there. And you kind of wonder, well, why don't we emulate that? Why don't we want to be in a society that's really happy? So should I move to another country? And if I should, I'm interested to see will it give me Finland as the answer because it's the happiest place. And if I should, what country should I move to? So what I'm really interested in here is, will Claude give me an answer that is reflective of the research showing that there are other places where people are incredibly happy? It's not coming up on the first list. So it's a very significant life decision, and it really is. I mean, that's why, this is life hacks. It's, looking at better ways of kind of living or making your life a better life. So it depends on personal circumstances, values, and goals. So a lot of Americans live fulfilling lives both at home and abroad. But considering that move, you should reflect on what are your motivations for wanting to leave? What are the reasons for it? So is it becoming more expensive? Could I have a better quality of life in another country? What you're seeking in a new country, better quality of life. Again, your career, financial situation. Well, I'm in my 30s, so it's kind of at that stage where your career is important, your financial setup is important. And that's the one I really talked about, family ties and relationships. If you're going to move from America to somewhere quite far, that's going to be difficult to keep up those relationships. And the most important one, your adaptability to new cultures and languages. Am I going to be just American in another country and go to American cafes and restaurants and just hang out with American people? If you really want to move, integration is so important. So countries that you might appeal to Americans would be Canada, because it's a very similar culture with universal healthcare, and you're still close to your family in the US. Portugal, cost of living is affordable, pleasant climate, and welcoming visa programs. Now, I think that one would be pretty difficult. New Zealand, very far away. I'm surprised at these answers. English speaking with beautiful landscapes and good work-life balance. Yes, but it takes a hell of a lot of time and expense to get home. Germany, strong economy, Central European location, and good healthcare system. They absolutely do. And it's interesting that healthcare comes up in all of those answers. And then Costa Rica, lower cost of living, warm climate, and established expat community. You don't want to be an expat. If you're going to move abroad for good, you want to integrate. So what about Finland? Apparently they're very happy there. Now, again, Finnish would be pretty important, even though Finnish people speak English fluently. To really integrate, you have to have the language. So Finland's an excellent option to consider. Well, if it is an excellent option, why didn't it give me that in the answer above? So that's kind of one of the flaws of Gen AI. It consistently ranks among the happiest countries in the World Happiness Report. Again, a reason that I would have recommended it. It offers, now this is important, exceptional social welfare systems and healthcare, and that is so true. And this is again, the second point is if you're starting thinking of having a family, look at the costs of education in America. For an Ivy League master's at this stage, you're talking about $200,000 to $250,000. You want to laden that debt on your children, so you can go to Finland and have high quality free education, including university. They have a very good work-life balance with reasonable working hours. Now, I think that's in America, that we're missing that, the work-life balance. I think a lot of people work too much and they don't enjoy their life enough. Low crime rates and high personal safety. Political stability and low corruption. Would have said that before, but look at where we are now. And strong social cohesion and trust in institutions. Amazing, trust in institutions has been really eroded in America when you look at the research, and we will do that. So the challenges are, I think you would find this very hard climate. Long dark winters can be difficult for those unaccustomed to them. Now, Finnish people would say there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just bad clothes. So you get out and you're in the outdoors as much as possible. Language is always a barrier. So while many Finns speak excellent English, Finnish is notoriously difficult to learn and may be necessary for full integration. It really is. You can't fully integrate in a society unless you speak the language. Getting residency without EU citizenship typically requires a job offer, family ties, or enrolment in education. And probably the education one is the easiest one. There are many cultural differences. They value personal space, and they can often seem reserved to Americans who be used to more outgoing interactions. Cost of living, taxes are higher than in the US, and that's in where you get your good social security, your free education, etc. And job market, finding work might be challenging without the Finnish language skills. So if we are really interested in moving to Finland, there's a 90-day Finn program that's offered relocation packages for foreign professionals to experience living there temporarily. I really recommend that, as in just trying something temporarily without selling your house, etc. In America, you always want to weigh back into your old life in case it doesn't work out. So I think that's an interesting answer for Finland, but it didn't give it to me in my first search. So I think you'd want to be very, very careful in that regard.